Hello there, YouTube. And welcome to Monday the 15th of December. As you can hear, the typhoons have been going on. They said that atmospheric river round 2 is coming, and she is definitely on us. Just been here pounding rain all morning. Man, what a mess. It's just miserable out here. I gotta drive all the way to Vancouver in this. And it looks like it's actually a little bit worse in the Portland, Vancouver area, or at least that's making more news than us. I'm literally going to get soaked just getting to the car. All right, gotta do it. Gotta roll. Welcome to the day. A wet one. A dangerously wet one. Well, Mama?
Yes, I have.
That was an interesting drive to work.
Yes, it was.
The first half of it was like, well, we should have had pontoons out there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Get borrowed their salt.
Yeah, got down here and
sprinkle.
yeah, just barely a sprinkle.
I know.
55 degrees here in Vanchulo land.
Nice.
I don't know what it was there at the house. So I don't think I even paid attention to it.
I don't know.
But anyway, let's go in there and bust out a Monday.
Oh, right. Sounds like
All right. Hope for better weather.
Yes.
All right. Have a wonderful day there, Mama.
You too, Hubba.
All right. Love. See you. Bye.
I love you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Not that I didn't already know this beforehand, but confirmed with Buds 3 that the left-hand switch, the reverse or back shift or downshift button is bad. We were talking about this Friday, weren't we? There's no light comes on with Buds 3 when you're clicking it. I've seen a few of these. I would imagine probably, I think 3 for sure. It might have been a 4th one somewhere. And then last year or year before, somebody upstairs came across one, and well, I'd go into Buds and verify when you literally you have a list of deals, and when you activate it, it lights the button saying that it sees you're touching it. Everything works except for that on it. But that, like I say, it was mostly 2019s, but there's been a few. I bet you if I look at the creation date on this thing, it was probably late 2018 that it was built. It was probably a vendor change or something. You know what's sad is how eventually you just get erased. You get forgotten. And you know, I'm one that is always worried about that. You know, as people at some point they're gonna know who was my great granddad. You know, Shawn Smoak. They might have some picture or something. But I was just thinking about that. It just popped in my head. You know, I've thought about that before. It's like my granddad. You know, I bring him up every once in a while. But you know, when he passed away, I thought about him every day forever. And then, you know, I talked about him a lot. But as time goes by, they fade away. You know, I mean, in my heart and stuff, they don't fade away. And I get pictures that pop up. You know, I've shown you guys like that AI motion activated picture of my granddad. Well, I can't show you. Well, I have to open up my iPad to do it, but I don't know if I showed you that. I think I did. That I think it's Google Photos has that does it really well. And you can do, I think, like 6 photos per day or something, you know. But you get tired of doing them, but it's really cool what they do. But, you know, and then, you know, go, you know, one generation later, you know, my dad who passed away in 2009. And I mean, even in, you know what, I'll say this, but I don't know, I was watching something. I don't know what it was. It's probably one of those, you know, restoring an old car or something. Something came up, and I remember thinking, you know, I'd like to ask my dad about that. You know, for the longest time, and he died in 2009, and I mean, even in 2014, 2015, he'd have those little flashes. You know, you'd be driving home that long drive to and from work, and a little thing would pop in your head. You know, God, I haven't talked to my dad in a long time. geez, I need to call my dad, and you just get, woof, this almost, I bet you if you were looking at yourself in the mirror, you'd probably turn red. Just this hot flash hits you going, whoa, wait, he's gone. I can't talk to him anymore. But, the same thing, eventually, here we are all these years later, just about to be 2026. And I don't think about my dad every day like I used to. I mean, there was never a day, for years that something didn't make me think of my dad. And then, my mom died in 2000. And I just brought all that back up again, Then my mom, because I talked to my mom on the phone. My dad was just not a phone talker. You want to talk to me, you come walk in the back door and sit at the table. We'll talk. Was not a phone talker. I bet you, in my lifetime, I probably talked to my dad on the phone probably a half a dozen times. Probably the biggest time I talked to him on the phone was when we lived in Texas. When I lived in Portland, you plop your happy butt on a motorcycle or in a car, and you drive to Longview and go talk to your dad. He was not a phone guy. He just was very, face to face, no matter how silly it was. And he didn't want you calling about something silly, for sure. My mom, oh boy, she's, there's something with the Smokes and the Heenies. My mom's Irish side of the family. Good Lord. She used to say, you talk the head off a crutch. Must be some old Irish saying or something. And she would tell me that. And I'm like, Kelly and I would look at each other and going, talking about the pot calling the kettle black, You got her on the phone and you make sure you're in a comfortable spot because you're going to be there for a while. But she'd tell you everything, And what was cool is, after my dad had passed away and, a bunch of time had gone by, she started, I think I talked about this, in the late teens or early 20s, after my mom was gone. I learned about stuff about my mom and dad I never knew. My dad was very, I don't know if you are from South Carolina or know anybody from South Carolina, something about people from South Carolina, you keep your business to yourself. You don't hang your laundry out in the front yard. You do it in a hidden place out back. And don't be talking about your stuff. So us kids, it was always it was a need to know kind of a thing before you heard any stories. But my mom, she just got to telling everything. I found out some pretty cool things. It was all good, but none of it was bad. Well, I did hear some things. She talked about her and Dad getting in a fight over something, and I never seen them two ever get in a fight, ever. Towards the end with him, he would get frustrated with her because he couldn't, move very, he had massive strokes and he couldn't move ended up where he couldn't move at all. He couldn't walk around at all. But anyway, he'd get frustrated with her because she wasn't one to have a lot of patience. And, not a fault, it's just the way she was, And he'd get upset with her. And I'd never seen him do that. I took him to my niece's wedding I forgot the name of it already. And my mom's lived there up until, and my sisters moved away too. Anyway, it's up there. It's on the Idaho border, and Canada's just above you a bit. And anyway, went up their wedding, so I drove them up there. My dad couldn't drive anymore, so he rode up in the front seat, and Kelly and my mom rode in the back. So we still had the FJ Cruiser. I think we did this in, I don't know, what was that in? Yeah, it was in 08. Pretty sure it was 08. And we took Highway 12, went across Mount Rainier, and went that whole way. In fact, I drove that route home in 2016, coming back from Yellowstone. And anyway, my dad got mad at her at one point, and he tossed out a cuss word at her. And well, you could have blown me over with a feather. I mean, never, ever. They kept that stuff very quiet. You know, they had to have, little spats here and there. You never heard it. My dad was very, very private that way. And my granddad was that way. My grandmother was that way. They're all from South Carolina. All my aunts and uncles on my dad's side there. He had two sisters, a younger sister and an older sister. The only one of my uncles was not from South Carolina, but they're all the same way. Don't air out your laundry. Keep personal things personal. Anyway, my mom would tell me little spats that they had. I know of one that I never heard anything about it. There was this 81 XT 500 that this was like in February of 81. You know how the new models come out, they start showing up like September, October, right in that area, the new models. Well, a guy had bought a brand new XT 500 and didn't like it because he was more of a multi-cylinder guy. Just thought he wanted an enduro so he could go off-road a little bit or whatever. Well, those old XT, TT, and SR 500s, they vibrated quite a bit. There's no balancer in them. And that's just the way motorcycles were, Anyway, he traded the thing in. I think it had 100 and something miles on it. So I was, it was open campus at school, and I'd go over there, and I'd seen that XT, and I go, what's the deal with that? He goes, that just came in. So anyway, they were selling the thing for a song and a dance. It's early in the year, sales are slow. They just wanted to flip the thing. So I needed some cash help from my dad, and he wasn't having none of it. He goes, you already got, handful of, I think I had my XL 250S, had CB, I had a CB 750F, and I don't know if I had the little 400 Hawk still or not, but anyway, motorcycles as you do. But anyway, it was a definite no, and I was pretty upset about it. But you get over those things. Well, one day I got out. My mom had to pick me up early from school, and I had to go to the dentist appointment. And I was still living at home, so I was on my dad's dental thing and stuff. And so anyway, my mom comes get me because I was going to get the old laughing gas treatment or something, whatever. I was not to drive. I took the bus to school that day, and my mom come pick me up. And anyway, we get done with the dentist office, and so she's turns. She's going down Vandercook, and she's heading towards Commerce, and I'm going, there ain't nothing my mom goes down here for. Why would she be going this way? And so she knew right where that motorcycle shop was, and I was working there, and because I started in February of 1980. So she's going down the road, and I'm like, where are you going? She goes, so how much was that motorcycle? So I told her how much it was. She goes, and she's driving down Vandercook and turns into York Honda and Yamaha there. It's now Carl's Towing now. Turns into that thing. She goes, I'm going to buy you that motorcycle. And back then, you didn't have to have a helmet or anything. So anyway, went in there. My mom wrote him a check, and I rolled out with basically a brand spanking new 81 XT 500, which was still a current year. It was I think it was less than 200 miles on it. And man, I was talking about a proud peacock. And my feathers a full song riding that thing around. That's crazy. I remember that thing. In fact, it was still kind of new to me, because in April of that same year, April 28th to be exact, was my buddy Dean goes, Kelly's brother was kind of known. He rode motorcycles, and he had a like a mental thing. I don't even know what it was called or whatever, but he couldn't work or anything like that. And anyway, his dad was buying him motorcycles and stuff. He'd go ripping around. Everybody called him Quick Carl. I remember when they first came out, he bought one of those little MB5, the little 50cc two-stroke street bike. If you guys remember that. One day he was in there for something, and he's ring, he just haul butt everywhere. And he goes ripping out of the parking lot onto Vandercook. And at this point, the Honda shop was separated. If you guys are familiar with Longview, Washington, there's a tavern on Vandercook Way called the Twin Star Tavern. That used to be York Honda. So he goes ripping out of that parking lot, and I mean, we all did that cringe. Vandercook was quite busy back then. That was back when you still went into the main downtown part of things. And anyway, he goes ripping out of there, and it looked like a scene from a movie. There's cars going both ways, and he just split between them. He goes out so fast, he goes wide and almost clipped a car that was parked on the side of the road. And we all just one of those don't look. And somehow you made it. But anyway, my friend Dean from high school, he goes, hey, you know Quick Carl? And I go, yeah, because Dean would hang around the shop every once in a while and stuff, and until the bosses whatever chase him. He's got work to do. Go, all right, get out of here, He goes, hey, he's got a hot sister. And I go, no way, because he, whatever it was he had, he looked different. And I'm thinking, no way. There's no way. He goes, no, I'm telling you. So I don't know, a couple days or whatever goes by, and he goes, hey, he was riding on the back of my XT, and so he points me up the hill there in Kelso. And we drive up, go pulling into the driveway, and that that awning between the garage and remember Kelly's dad's house, mom and dad's house. There was that awning in the middle there. That old red Thunderbird sat there forever. But anyway, they're I think they're playing basketball or something out there. They're playing around. Well, Dean had done something that two of those boys was after him, specifically one. And anyway, so we get up there, and I mean, next thing you know, Dean and these boys are scrapping it, And I'm going, geez, what's going on? All the excitement, And anyway, all of a sudden you hear this sliding door open up, and you hear this voice goes, you guys knock it off. And it made him stop. And I look up. I don't know if you remember me sitting at that back door, and I point up at the sliding glass door that just literally was like a 10-foot drop to the concrete. I don't know if there was a plan to do something with the house that never got finished. That's the way Kelly's parents bought it. It was just like it was. And anyway, here's this little brunette up there with some Daisy Dukes and one of those little flowery little halter tops. And you talking about being knocked over with a feather, because girls didn't dress like that around here. That's a very southern thing. And she just looked like a little Southern belle sitting up there. And I'm like, dang. I go, who the heck is that? He goes, that's Kelly. He goes, that's who I'm talking about. And I'm like, dang. Well, anyway, that was Dean. Because, I didn't know Carl or Kelly or any of them, or parents, and none of that stuff. So I was, hey, Dean, you want to go run up and go visit old Quick Carl? So anyway, Dean would hang out with Carl, and I was sniffing and smooching, trying to get close to Kelly. What's funny is you hear her side of the story. Because she stood up there and talked to us for a little bit. She goes, man, I looked down there. You weren't wearing clothes like we wear around here. And you had that southern accent. She goes, I was done the second I heard your voice. And Yep, that was a long time ago. That's crazy. And that's something that I was heck, we're not too far from being 45 years ago. April 1st of 1981. Or April 28th of 1981. It's crazy. Nothing's changed. We've been together, I mean, literally ever since. Of course, she was, I turned, I don't remember how old it was. She was only 14 years old. So you weren't going nowhere but, hanging out the house. So I did that until she was, I think, a month before turning 16. The rule was none of the daughters in the Woodward house go anywhere until they're 16. And you need to know exactly where you're at. We went to this Chinese restaurant that we always like to go to, and they need to know when we're going to be there. We're going to movie. The movie gets over here. We're going to leave there. We're going to go have Chinese food and go straight home. Her mom knows the people at the Chinese restaurant. She knew everybody because she was a chef herself, and she knew any restaurant you went to. She knew the people there. Crazy enough. And anyway, she'd call. He goes, "Are you Kelly Woodward?" And he goes, "Yes." She goes, "There's someone on the phone for you." It'd be her mom checking on us. And I mean, you got done with dinner and went straight home. And yeah, so I went up and visited her as much as I could without being a pest. You don't want the dad to get wise to this young boy sniffing around on his daughter. So and we had to sit where we could be seen by the parents. We'd have to sit in the living room. I remember her mom and dad loved watching what was the Muppets? I think that was the name of it, the Muppets. And that would be on, you only had 3 channels back then. And something would be on, and we'd have to sit there in the living room and watch the TV with the parents. And of course, their sisters and brother and everybody was there too, They're all watching us. You just have to sit there. All we could do is just sit there and kind of hold our hands. We'd get a little peck at night as I left on my motorcycle to go home. I'd only known her for 2 weeks. And, she was young, and her dad was he protective. A 14-year-old daughter, you can imagine, he was protective. And we took off to go to South Carolina. It was a 2-week trip. We drove there. And anyway, I just wanted to kiss her in the worst way, and you could tell she wanted to, but we're both too chicken. I was scared. Old man, old Carl Senior, you didn't want to scrap with him. And so anyway, it was, I'm leaving. I'm saying goodbye. I'm not going to be back for, I think it was more than 2 weeks. And so anyway, I was going, okay, well, I guess I better go. And I reached up and just smacked her a good one. And man, I shouldn't have done that, because that was the longest 2 weeks of my life. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But it was cool though. I ended up, I had the Honda, and we were staying at DeGray Lake. It's up there towards Little Rock, Arkansas. It's in the Arkadelphia mountain range. They're very beautiful. We used to go camping there when we lived up there. And so there, we're on our way back, and my parents were going to stay a few days there. I think it was almost a week. So maybe we were gone more than 2 weeks. And we were on our way back from South Carolina, and stayed there. And I rode my motorcycle from DeGray Lake, Arkansas to which is in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. So from Arkadelphia, Arkansas to Texarkana, Texas on that 250. Man, that was a long drive on a little, mostly dirt bike. Because, you strip everything down. There was no turn signals or nothing on it. But I went there and hung out with all my friends and from Texarkana. It's funny, I met up with an old girlfriend there that we hadn't had nothing to do with each other. We broke up in, I don't know, 75, 76 or something like that. And she was there, I think, because my friend's sister, we were all about the same age, so we all knew each other, So anyway, she shows up and spending the night with my friend Alan's sister. And man, had she changed a lot. She was smoking. Holy moly. And man, she was all over me like stink on poop. And man, we ended up in this, and I think they were trying to get us together because Alan's sister knew she was still very interested in me. Maybe she liked, because I grew up too. Anyway, so we end up in the back of this old Caprice Classic in the driveway, and Alan and his brother were in the front seat. And so anyway, they just bailed and leave us in the back seat. And man, I'd known Kelly for just 2 weeks at that point. And well, I won't say her name in case she watches any of these things. But anyway, she was interested in fooling around a little bit in the back seat of that thing. It was a setup. And man, I was brave enough. I said, no, you know what? I've got somebody up in Washington that I want to be very, very loyal to. And she was pissed. She ended up leaving. I think that's somebody trying to get in here. The whole stack of Kawasaki's, including one of those crazy new side-by-sides. Polaris has got a new one. Can-Am is just dominating this stuff. Now Polaris has this crazy looking one that they just came out with. The Kawasaki one's been out for a little bit. These things are just insane. They're very expensive and really, really, really cool. Oh no, hold on. Sorry about the white balance. Oh, it's called the H2. Whew, I think it's bad to the bone. I mean, really cool. Anyway, I need to call. I got the white balance set for here, so I'm sorry about the really blue light. I need to call upstairs, let them know that somebody needs to come down with a forky lift. All right, I'll be back. Of course, it's just stone quiet up there. No one answers the phone. You know who will answer the phone? It rang once. Hello? Kelly answers the phone. Funny, we're talking about Kelly. Anyway, loyal to a fault to that woman. It's crazy. I remember I was probably about 85, 86. There was this girl that rode motorcycles. There's one of the service riders there. I think he did some modeling. He did do modeling. He was a good looking guy. And the women just hoarded around him. He was probably a year or two older than I was. So he went out to this thing in Oregon, the Carver River or something like that, and had a big camp out. And there was this gal that rode a VF 500F, the little 500 Interceptor. And then she come in, she became friends with Frank and whatever, and she was interested in him, but he didn't want anything to do with her type of thing. Really cute. I think she was a little bit Latino, I think. She's dark complected and, everything I like. I love brunettes. But anyway, she's really cute. Just a little old tiny thing. So anyway, we end up, having this big camp out thing, and it did this rafting thing, and boy, she's just being all kinds of, cutesy. And I'm like, oh man, she was very cute. She had a kind of a nasty name. I don't know if I can even say that. Yeah, I don't think I can say that. But anyway, she was known for a name or a saying her name something. But anyway, so it gets nighttime, and I think Frank and I were sharing a tent, or maybe I brought my own tent. I don't recall. But anyway, going up the restroom or whatever, it was late at night, and I was heading back to my tent. All of a sudden, she comes popping out of nowhere in the pitch black dark, and just lassos onto me, just all but tackles me. I mean, she just, boom, just full on attack. I like, get her off of me, she locked lips before I even knew what was going on. I almost didn't even see her coming. And so she goes, I think I was in my own tent. She goes, where's your tent? I said, just on the other side of Frank's down there. And she goes, let's go there. I said, well, hold on. I said, just a minute. She goes, what? I said, you're very beautiful, yada yada, the whole spiel, but I can't. I'm just, I don't know if we weren't engaged, but we had been dating quite a while, Kelly, and we were living in Portland. You remember I told you she moved us into that apartment and all that stuff. We were in Portland, and working at Portland Honda. This has all happened at Portland Honda, and from there. And man, she kept, being all grabby and everything else. And I'm like, dude, I'm even thinking to myself, what is wrong with you? I'm thinking, I know what's wrong with me is you do something here, you're never going to regret it. I tell you, those things, like you do things right because you need to sleep. You need to live with yourself afterwards, And Kelly was just way, way too important to me. And man, was she mad. I mean, mad. And cussed me up one side and down the other. Whoa. She was pissed. And I don't think she came in that store more than a couple of times after that. She all but disappeared. Frank had turned her down, then I turned her down, and she goes, I guess there's nothing there at Portland Honda for me. But yeah, don't even know what, I know her first name. I had no idea what her last name was. I know her nickname, and that was scary enough. And oddly enough, bumped into her every year. Portland has that big parade. Man, I don't remember the name of it. That's terrible. The great big parade they have every year, right off the waterfront. Wow, the name of it just completely escapes me. Anyway, ran into her. I was with one of the friends. I became close friends with one of the service riders at work. And we were down walking around by the parade and ran into her. And Kelly goes, she was, I don't know if it was spite or whatever, but she was just all hangy and how have you been? And just like we're long, long lost friends. And Kelly, finally she goes off with her little crowd that she was with. And Kelly, like, who in the H is that? And I go, well, so I had to tell her the story. And anyway, I just told her the truth. Nothing happened. She wanted something to happen, and it'd have been fun. But nope. I don't know if Kelly still believes me or not. And she was like, wow, she was beautiful. She'd go, I said, yeah, she was very cute, wasn't she? And so that was it. There was something that tried to happen, and I said no, because of you, woman. It was funny that night, where guys will be guys, and old Bradford, he goes, hey, Smoak, here's this girl. She's standing, the cars are parked on the side, and she's standing on the front bumper of this old car. It was, some late 70s or something. I remember it was on a chrome bumper, and they're standing up and watching the parade. We're at a part where the parade turned. That was a good place to watch it because you'd see them coming up the hill and turning and going away. And anyway, he's going, oh man. He goes, well, I'll just say, look at that rear. And I'm looking, I'm like, dang. And just this black hair, just, that silky black hair, like an Asian person would have. And it was long all the way to, almost touching their butt. And these tight jeans, and oh man. So he's going on, and I'm just being silly with Kelly. I go, look at that, and anyway, so I think I've told you this story, or maybe Kelly told you. And anyway, the parade started quieting down, you know, and she turns around to jump off of that truck. Dude, it's an Asian guy with a Fu Manchu beard and everything, and the look on Bradford and my face, and Callie just absolutely went into hysterics. She just went on and on. You go, you know, he H's, you know, that'll teach you. And she goes, and then later on she told me, she goes, I gotta admit, and I was thinking, that girl's got a really cute rear portion, you know. And yeah, it was a dude. But never turned around, you'd never know the difference. But anyway, rattle on about that. It's story time again today. I need to turn in the paperwork for a switch and stuff on this thing. He's got a third-party warranty thing that's going to take care of it. I assume they'll take care of it. I don't deal with that part of that anymore. I just turn in the paperwork. And I was going to go over it right quick and make sure the battery's good, and belt, and check his brake fluid. And the thing was up, but as usual, the shock gets weak with that backrest on there. That's a very heavy-duty backrest BRB makes, and it overworks those shocks. You know, I ran through the computer and all the fault codes about the shifting thing, so I'll just turn the key on enough to turn the park brake off and just roll it off. Because when I start it up to put it back on, whenever the switch comes in, I'll only have to put it in forward. As soon as you hit that reverse button, it throws codes. But anyway, sorry for the story time again today. Hope that puts some visuals in your head, because all we did was stand here and literally stare at a spider. Not that that's a bad thing at all, but anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Is that amazing or what? That's that Teryx 5 H2. Whew, that thing's nice. Well, hello there, YouTube. Perfectly dry on the way home until right now.
Of course.
Yep.
But it's not bad. It's just the heavy sprinkles.
Yeah, just that misty stuff. It's almost like a fog mist. But that was fun. I got an email from somebody today that just has me
all spun up. Oh man,
I can't even. It's kind of a collab kind of a thing for next year. Not even gonna. There's nothing saying I can't mention it or anything. But I'm not gonna jinx this thing at all.
Yeah.
So man, so I'll be emailing back and oh man, it's got me spinning. Just made my last half of the year. But anyway, we stopped at Walmart's. We're home at we made good time.
Yeah.
7 o'clock and we stopped at Walmart's?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're pretty good to get what we need to get and get out.
Yeah, we didn't get much. Just some things we needed, went right to it and got out.
Yep.
But on that big story time thing today, hope you guys enjoyed that, and we're gonna roll out at that. That ought to keep your mind busy for a while.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. We will talk to you tomorrow. Same smoke time, same smoke channel. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, and you guys have an amazing Tuesday or Wednesday.
Heck yeah. All right.
And we will see you in the morning.
See you in the morning.
Yes.
Bye-bye now. Thanks for watching.